Before anything unfolds, pause and listen, because this is not just another video. This is a spiritual scene, scripted in heaven, written line by line for you. If you're hearing this now, it means you were meant to. Today is not a regular day. And if your spirit feels a weight in the air, a subtle tension, a divine silence pressing on your chest, you're already in it. So I need you to do something. Comment, "I've entered the divine scene," subscribe to the Chosen Signal, and share this message with someone else who feels that today something is different, because it is. Heaven has scheduled this moment with surgical precision. And what looks like an ordinary Tuesday is actually the beginning of a divine unfolding. You've felt it all morning. A pause, a hush, a stillness in the air. But it's not emptiness. It's the silence before the scene begins. Heaven is holding its breath. The angels have taken position. The script is already written. And God, the author and director of your life, he just said, action. You're not watching this by chance. You're not scrolling because of habit. You were pulled here because the next chapter of your life is about to activate, and this moment is the signal. There is a line, thin, invisible, that separates the routine from the supernatural. And today, chosen one, you are crossing that line. This is not symbolic. This is spiritually real. The enemy tried to convince you that you were a supporting role, a background extra, someone who could be ignored. But heaven has been preparing a main character reveal. You were not hidden because you were insignificant. You were hidden because your entrance was strategic. And now the light is shifting. The camera is focusing. The entire atmosphere is aligning. Because today, yes today, you step into the center of the divine scene. Your name has been spoken in heavenly rooms, and now it's being released into the earth. You are not behind. You are perfectly on cue. This day, this exact one key has been written into your life since before you were born. Before your first breath, God scheduled this Tuesday as a turning point. The message, the encounter, the shift, the word. It was always part of the script. What seems small today, a conversation, a phone call, a moment of silence, will become the pivot around which your entire path rotates. And what's more, even your mistakes, even your delays, even your pain. God has used everything to lead you to this scene. Nothing is wasted when the author is perfect. And now, the page has turned. Welcome to the scene that changes everything. There's a tension in the atmosphere. Can you feel it? Not anxiety, not fear. It's divine tension, the kind that comes just before revelation. When the wind stops, when the sky holds still, when your spirit feels full but doesn't know why. It's not confusion, it's alignment. Because when heaven prepares a moment of divine unveiling, the air thickens. You start to notice details, glances, numbers, hours, words that seem loaded with meaning. This is because you're inside a spiritual scene, not just watching life happen, but being positioned by an unseen hand. Don't ignore the signs. You're not imagining them. They are confirmation that the script has begun, and your cue is being whispered across dimensions. You are not late. You are being timed to the second. The world calls this just another Tuesday. But in the spirit, this is a threshold moment, a sacred intersection between your past silence and your future release. You've walked quietly through seasons of contradiction. You've obeyed when no one was watching. You've cried in rooms no one entered. And heaven recorded every second. That's why this day is not just random. It's redemption written in real time. You don't need a stage. You don't need applause. What you need, and what you now have, is God's permission to emerge. And when God says step forward, no man can block it. This is not a metaphor. This is not spiritual poetry. This is a literal prophetic shift in your real life. Expect changes in conversations. Expect the return of people who thought they forgot you. Expect interruptions that reroute your day, but not by accident. They're heaven-led detours to divine scenes. You may hear a word that confirms what you've been praying for in secret. You may receive an opportunity that was held back for this moment because the delay wasn't denial. It was choreography. And now, the music of heaven is rising, and your steps have aligned with the divine rhythm. This is no longer waiting. This is manifestation. Every great film has that moment when everything seems lost. The hero is at their lowest. The enemies seem to win. The light is gone. And then the music changes. The lighting shifts. The camera tightens in, and the unexpected turn begins. That's where you are right now. Everything that has felt like loss, confusion, delay, it's not the ending. It's the tension before the turn. God didn't bring you this far to leave you in limbo. He's been crafting a plot twist no one saw coming. And today, this very day, is the opening scene. The hero rises, and that hero is you. Look around you. Everything today has meaning. That stranger who smiled at you, that delay that kept you from being in the wrong place, that silence that made you pause. These are not background moments, they are holy choreography. When God writes a scene, even the shadows matter, even the silence carries sound, even your stillness has a role. You thought you were wandering when in truth you were being led by an invisible script, one that heaven wrote before you even knew how to ask for direction. And now you're beginning to hear the cue in your spirit. This is it. Don't miss it. Step fully in. Every time you felt overlooked, every time the invitation never came, every moment you were left out, left behind, misunderstood, it was never rejection. It was divine hiding. Because this scene could only work if you entered at the exact time. The background couldn't handle your light too soon. God kept you concealed until the right people were watching, until the atmosphere was ready, until your voice could no longer be ignored. Now, as this divine Tuesday unfolds, the silence ends. You've been hidden long enough. It's time to be seen, not by the world, but by your assignment. And when assignment recognizes anointing, doors don't just open, they bow. You thought you were waiting, but you were being prepared. Heaven didn't forget you. God wasn't ignoring you. He was working behind the curtain, building the set, casting the scene, positioning the players. And while you paced in the hallway of not yet, God was crafting a moment so precise, so holy, that even your tears were rehearsals. Even your disappointment was a line in the script. And now it makes sense. The pain had purpose, the delay had timing, and today it becomes clear. You are no longer just carrying the prophecy. You are walking into it. There is a presence settling over you as you listen. It's not pressure, it's permission. It's not anxiety, it's activation. Something in your spirit knows, this moment has been waiting for me, and it has. You don't need to strive. You don't need to force, you simply need to respond. God has already aligned the people, the timing, the open window. Heaven is not preparing it, it's releasing it. And you are not preparing anymore. You are stepping into fulfillment. So breathe, get still, listen closely, because this Tuesday, this sacred day, has just become the scene that shifts your story forever. This is not a story you're reading. This is not a movie you're observing. You are inside it. You're not watching the shift. You are the shift. Heaven is not positioning things around you for entertainment. It's preparing through you, with you, and because of you. You are not a passive character. You are the protagonist. And the next lines will be spoken with your voice, the next decision made with your hands, the next breakthrough written through your obedience. Yes, you feel the weight of it, because it's real. Prophecy doesn't sit on spectators, it rests on vessels. And now that mantle is falling upon you. The script is no longer external, it's unfolding in your bones. Have you noticed how things feel different today? People look twice. The room feels lighter when you enter. Conversations shift when your voice joins in. That's not Ego, it's spiritual frequency. The atmosphere has sensed it. You've moved, not physically, spiritually. Your vibration has risen. Your alignment has clicked. Heaven has turned your name into a sound, and now the world is responding. Because when a chosen one stands fully in their scene, even creation pays attention. The shift you've been waiting for, it wasn't outside you. It's what you just became. God doesn't just thunder from the clouds. Sometimes he whispers through the ordinary. That song on the radio, that random number on the receipt, that stranger who says something only heaven could have known you needed to hear. These are not accidents. They are divine dialogue. And today the frequency is higher. More is being said through less. You must lean in, stay present, because God isn't waiting to speak, he's already speaking. And the more you notice, the more the dialogue will deepen. You are not in a waiting room. You are in a revelation chamber. There are days we forget, and then there are days that mark us. This is one of them. You won't remember it by what you did. You'll remember it by what you became. Something has shifted in your identity. Something has been called out of hiding. You may not fully grasp it yet, but your spirit already bowed in reverence, because it knows this was the moment, the one where all the silence made sense, the one where the prophecy took its first breath, the one where heaven whispered, "Now, begin." And from this point forward, nothing will feel the same again. Everything that felt stagnant is starting to move. Everything that felt lost is circling back. Everything that felt unfair is being reversed. Not by chance, but by justice. Heaven has been quiet because it was preparing the turnaround. You were being tested in patience, in faith, in silence, but the test wasn't punishment, it was set up. And now the scene has flipped. You're stepping into favor that you didn't chase, into rooms you didn't force, into answers you stopped praying for because you thought they passed you by. But they didn't pass. They were hidden until today. And now, what was withheld is being handed over, not as a gift, but as a fulfillment. Chosen one, your steps were never random. You walked through delays, detours, and deserts, but not one of them was wasted. God used every wrong turn to protect you, every closed door to position you, every not yet to mature you. And today, in this divine unfolding, the map unfolds too. You're starting to see how it all connects. The pain birthed power, the silence produced depth, the exile taught discernment, and now the pieces are clicking. Because God doesn't just restore time, he redeems meaning, and every second is now becoming holy. Have you noticed? Just before today, the resistance got stronger, the confusion louder, the spiritual warfare heavier. That wasn't coincidence. That was confirmation. Because the enemy saw what was coming. He knew today was written in fire, and he tried to block you from reaching it. That argument, that distraction, that sudden insecurity, none of it was random. But here you are, you made it. You heard the whisper in the noise. You stayed aligned when everything begged you to fall off course. And now, the resistance is breaking, because what was threatened has now become undeniable. You have arrived. This is the moment heaven has waited for. The mantle is falling. The weight of what you were born to carry is no longer hovering. It's resting on your shoulders, not to crush you, but to crown you. You've passed through fire. You've endured in silence. You've worshipped when no one clapped. And now the oil is pouring. From this moment forward, your steps are not common. Your words are not casual. Your presence is not normal, because the mantle of your mission has found you. And you are no longer just called, you are commissioned. All along, you thought the pain would break you. You thought the waiting meant you weren't ready. But now you see it was building you. God wasn't just preparing the moment, he was preparing you for the moment. The silence gave you hearing, the rejection gave you clarity, the isolation gave you power. You didn't become who you are today by accident. You were forged in fire. And now that the spotlight of heaven is on your scene, you walk in not as a beggar, not as a victim, but as a vessel. Not hoping, knowing. This is what you were born for. You were quiet for so long, they thought you had nothing to say. You stayed low for so long, they thought you had no power. But what they didn't realize was that your silence wasn't absence. It was strategy. You weren't disappearing. You were developing. And now, as you rise into this sacred scene, the very people who overlooked you will wonder how you became what they never saw coming. But it was never about them. It was about alignment. And today, you're no longer explaining yourself. You're embodying everything heaven planted in you. The prophecy wasn't for their applause. It was for your assignment. This isn't just another Tuesday. This is the day you'll mark, the day you'll reference, the day you'll look back on and say, that's when it started shifting. You may not see the full picture yet, but something in you knows, something lifted, something broke, something was released. You'll remember the stillness, the whisper, the way your heart aligned with heaven's pace. You'll remember that God was in the room and that you finally said yes to your role, to your calling, to your scene. From this day on, you don't walk alone. You walk with backing. Angels are assigned. Destiny is aligned. And your life will begin to speak things you haven't even prayed out loud. Because the yes you gave in private is now echoing in public. You're not chasing, you're becoming, you're not guessing, you're aligned. And everything that unfolds from this scene forward has heaven's signature on it. You were chosen. You were kept. And now you're being revealed. Chosen one, if your spirit knows this day was not random, comment now. This is my divine scene. Let it seal what God is doing in the unseen. Subscribe to the Chosen Signal so you never miss a moment that speaks straight to your calling. Share this message with someone who has been quietly waiting for their cue. Because this isn't just another message, it's a reminder. God never wastes a moment. And when heaven writes a scene, it ends in glory.